Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames podcast. This is episode 80, and it is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us as always on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
We've got a big fish off the market, finally, amongst a couple of other smaller moves, but we've got some big news to get into.
Yeah, one of those 3 big deals we've been talking about. We've been talking about Snell, J.D. Martinez, and Cody Bellinger. One of those guys is off the market. We'll get into it. And we'll get straight into it. The big deal off the market, center fielder Cody Bellinger and the Chicago Cubs are in agreement on a 3-year, $80 million contract. But this is a funny deal, man. He gets opt-outs after each of the first 2 years.
They're player options?
Mm-hmm.
That's
all him.
Yeah, so, I mean, he did have to wait a while, and he didn't really get nearly as much money as he thought he was going to, but it still does look to be a pretty good deal for him.
No, when you look at it, it's actually a really sweet deal that he's getting here. It's top-end money. I mean, I know he wanted a lot more length and security, but the fact that he gets to bet on himself, and if he loses the bet, he still gets $30 million.
At most, by the time he plays 3 years, he'd only be 31, which is still, like, he's got plenty of gas in the tank at 31.
Yeah,
so.
Like you said, 28 years old right now. He'll receive a $30 million salary this season, and if he opts in, he'll get $30 million in 2025. If he opts into 2026, it goes down to $20 million. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening with that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good fit. We saw last year, I mean, he slashed 307, 356, and 525 with 26 bombs and 97 RBI. It was probably his best season since he won MVP back in, 2021?
Maybe 2019, something like that.
It was 2019. 17, he was Rookie of the Year. So 2019, I mean, he was the MVP. This is his best year in nearly 5 years.
Highest average of his career, too. I mean, he really came to form last year, and he's a full-time center fielder now.
Yeah, and it was on a 1-year take a chance on myself deal, and it paid off. He makes himself nearly $80 million if he chooses. Mm-hmm. So he has the choice on how much of the money he makes over the next 3 years.
And you got to tip the cap because the patience of the Cubs really pays off here.
It was like a staring contest between the two of them. Who will blink first?
They didn't have to pay that huge long-term deal for a guy that I guess, they didn't want to. I'm not going to lie to you, and you were saying this a week ago off camera. I mean, why wouldn't one team be willing to give him that long contract with fat money, because he's obviously earned it.
He's proven. I mean, at least 3 full seasons where he's been an elite baseball player.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's earned at least what he got from the Cubs in this 3-year deal. I mean, I thought $200 million was a bit much. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I guess everybody did.
Everybody thinks that they're worth $200 million these days. It's kind of crazy because of how big the contracts have been for the Stars.
It seems like you and all of the teams agree, though, that is too much.
Of course. I mean, $200 million is a lot of money, dude. I mean, like you can't just hand that to you can't just give that to anybody.
Team altering for sure. I mean, he is a former 2-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, a Gold Glove winner, Rookie of the Year, and like you said, MVP.
Yeah, he's got a good resume. He's going to be making himself some money, and I think it's a really good move for the Cubs also because that NL Central is still wide open.
Win-win because he seemed to like playing in Wrigley, so he'll get to do that half the season here.
Yeah, we'll see if he could build his resume a little bit more as a Cub now. It won't just be a one-off thing.
We'll move it on over to his old team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, where they made a couple of moves this past week. The first one is a trade where they will be acquiring I guess the Twins, really, are acquiring outfielder Manuel Margot from them and shortstop prospect Rain Duncan. The Dodgers will be getting a shortstop in Noah Miller back, but that's not really what it's about. This is a money dump for the Dodgers.
Yeah, which is interesting because they just acquired Margot this offseason, so he didn't even get to play a single game for the Dodgers. And
part of the Glasnow trade.
Yeah, he gets flipped to the Twins now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a deal that I don't hate it for either side. The Twins end up getting some outfield depth that can help them because, as we know, Byron Buxton is planning to go back into center field, and in the past his body has not held up when he's done that. So if that happens, Manuel Margot will be there to step in. Yeah,
regardless, I think he'll probably play right field a bunch for the Twins this upcoming season. And I mean, he's always been a pretty solid bat in his career. He's torched the Mets every time he plays us. So, yeah, it's a good move. I mean, it was kind of odd for him to be included in the original Glasnow trade. for him to just be flipped. But
Yeah.
hey, the Dodgers know what they're doing.
It's part of the grand plan. The Dodgers get relief from $12 million owed here, so it's really a smart payroll move for them.
Open
because
up.
as we see a lot of that deferred money, their payroll's not even looking as big as it should.
Yeah, and now they have even more money to play with. They've really done an impressive job. It has definitely they've been benefited by guys buying in, like Ohtani just deferring all that money and giving them the opportunity to be able to sign guys like Glasnow and Yamamoto to extensions. And for Yamamoto, I mean, that gigantic deal.
They also get a comp round pick for this as well, so that's going to be nice for them to get. He hit 264, 310, 376 slugging last year, so not great in the slugging department, with 4 home runs and 336 plate appearances for the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Dodgers have easily won this offseason. I mean, it's undeniable, and
You can't go a minute without talking about them.
and they just keep making good moves.
It's an A-plus offseason in my opinion, and I don't think that's outrageous to say.
If there's anything higher than A+, they should get that.
And this is another move that they made back-to-back, and it's another one that I'm a fan of. They bring super utility man Kik Hernandez back on a 1-year contract for $4 million. I mean, he's absolutely worth that. We've seen it.
100%. It's another good depth option. I mean, I've said it numerous times on this podcast that teams need depth, and the Dodgers know better than pretty much anybody with how experienced they are, and it's a guy in Kik Hernandez that they know.
It's extremely underreported here. I looked into it because of the contract. This is a guy, Kik Hernandez, underwent double hernia surgery in the offseason. So he is expected to be ready around opening day, but that is something to recover from, man.
Definitely, but I mean, now he'll be fully healthy, which is what you could hope for if you're the Dodgers.
Dodgers made this deal like instantly after that Margot trade. It felt like a snap. He'll probably play most of the time against left-handed pitchers because the Dodgers' primary shortstop Gavin Lux and their center fielder James Outman are both lefties.
Yeah, Kike has been one of the better utility men in baseball over the past 10 years. So, and he's been a Red Sox, a Dodger. I mean, that's what we really think of him as. So he's back in one of the two teams that he made a name for himself on. So good for both sides.
Yeah, we even saw his numbers go down. He hit 222 in 2022. And then 222 with the Red Sox in 2023. He was traded to the Dodgers, and he bumps right up to 265.
Still only 32 years old, too. So he's not like an older baseball player. He's still in the prime of his career, you'd say. So
the baseball season is long. If anybody gets banged up, Kike will fill in, and as he has for the Dodgers for a long time.
At what, probably 6 different positions? 5?
Definitely second, short, left, right, center. Probably
third. I'm sure he could play third if they needed him to.
Yeah. Oh no, I have seen him play third. He was playing third last year. No, so yeah, he can absolutely play just about every position. Yeah.
It's pretty wild. So it's definitely a good deal to get somebody like that for what, $4 million.
Yeah, we talked about the Dodgers for a minute there, and it's just 2 really nice deals to make in the background of what was already a massive blockbuster offseason.
Yeah, it's peace building. On the team that they already view as they're probably viewed unanimously across the world as World Series favorites entering the season.
Worth mentioning, just because we are talking Dodgers here, Shohei Ohtani hits a home run in his first game in spring training in those threads, man.
It took him 3 at-bats.
And when I was watching it, we were watching it live, it did not look like he got all of it at all. He kind of flicked at the opposite field, and it just got out.
He's probably warming up like the rest of the guys. I mean, he's not going 100% yet, and he's still blasting the ball opposite field, mind you.
It's crazy. I'm really excited to watch him this year because this is the first time we'll be able to watch him lock in fully on hitting.
Yeah, and also it'll be like probably the first time he's ever been on an actual contender.
Oh, definitely.
Like the teams he's been on, they've been built up to be hyped up, but they never perform on the field. This Dodgers team is going to perform. I'll tell you that right now.
It's crazy for Shohei to think about. This is the first time he's been able to contend for a championship since he played in Japan.
That's not what he was hoping for when he signed with the Angels originally. He probably thought they had a chance because they had the best player on the planet, but it didn't go that way. They didn't make the playoffs one time, and now he really has a real chance to win a World Series. I mean, he's on the team that's the favorite.
Dodgers clear favorites this season, and we'll keep our eye on them just like everybody else who is watching baseball. We'll bring it on over to the NL Central here, and we'll talk about the St. Louis Cardinals, who have signed 3-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glover, Silver Slugger winner, and 3-time World Series champion Brandon Crawford to a 1-year deal.
Very weird. I was saying this to you yesterday. I mean, I understand the Cardinals are probably going to use him because he's not going to start. He's going to back up Mason Wynn, I heard.
Yeah, he's supposed to back up and mentor rookie Mason Wynn, so you got to think that Brandon Crawford didn't have a better offer anywhere. Offer to start. It's pretty crazy.
I feel like at that point, like, just call it, bro. Like, retire. He's done enough.
Yeah, you would think so. He definitely made his money. He's been around for a while, 13 years with the Giants, his hometown crowd. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of wild to see that he's going to suit up in Cardinals red.
It'll look very, very weird to see him in different threads for a minute.
Yeah, he had a rough season last year. He was negative WAR. He hit 194.
Year before that, he won a Gold Glove, though.
Yeah, very true. So, I mean, and the thing is, his fielding hasn't gone anywhere this whole time. So, if he can get that bat back, he'll be a nice little backup for a team that has a lot of veterans in the Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of see what they're trying to do. They're bringing in veteran guys to try to mentor the younger guys.
Yeah, because they do have a couple of really young, good players that they can, I guess, have some maybe former or future Hall of Famers.
They did still sign the runner-up for the American League Cy Young this year. We're not going to forget about that. Sonny Gray is now their ace.
Oh, yeah, very true.
They did get a very good pitcher. So
I guess what it is a lot of people think of him as a veteran as well because he is up there in age,
yeah,
but a great arm nonetheless.
He's coming off a fantastic season. If it wasn't for Garrett Cole going crazy, he might have won the Cy Young. So.
Cardinals should be a fun team to watch because that is not a franchise that loses a lot, and they had a rough season last year, so they got to get back on top, and the NL Central's wide open.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before about the Cubs and Bellinger. I mean, this team finished in last place last year. I would bet my life they don't finish in last place this year, but who knows? I mean, that division is going to be something to keep your eye on.
It's about a 4-team race, probably, right?
Unless the Pirates go out and surprise some people.
Yeah, then it could be a 5-teamer. That's pretty wild, man. That should be a fun watch. It's definitely a 3-team locked-in race between the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Cubs. Those teams should be.
I don't really think you can kick the Reds out of that. If you're putting the Cardinals up there, you gotta include the Reds.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, I mean, this should be a really fun division to watch. It was last year. These teams were trading division leads all year until the Brewers locked in about late August and never looked back.
They pulled away a little bit. They got hot.
Yeah, so, I mean, the last thing we'll talk about here is an NL Central legend. I just wanted to talk about this because I think it's outrageous, honestly. Joey Votto is still unsigned. You can't tell me there's not a spot in the league for this guy. He's a career .294, .409 on base, .511 slugging. He's a 6-time All-Star, a Gold Glove winner, and the 2010 MVP, where he won that over names like Albert Pujols.
Dude, to play for as long as he has so far, and to have a .409 career on base, he gets on base 4 out of every 10 times he gets. That's insane.
And a .920 OPS, absolutely nothing to scoff at. I mean, these are Hall of Fame numbers straight up.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you. You cannot convince me that with a universal DH league that we live in now, there's no spot for Joey Votto to DH for a team.
Me and you were talking about this yesterday watching the Mets spring training game. I mean, I don't think you can convince me that DJ Stewart and G-Man Choi are more worth a roster spot than Joey Votto.
I mean, even just for the veteran presence alone, you would assume no.
The guy wants to play ball. I mean, he can play some first base. I know that Pete doesn't like to be taken out of first base.
He doesn't have to.
That's the thing. Is Votto willing to be a full-time DH?
At this point, nobody's signing him, dude. Yeah, he would take anything. We've seen the videos.
It blows my mind.
He's on Twitter begging people to sign him.
If you're the New York Mets and you can call Joey Votto and say, you're going to be our DH against righties and you're going to mentor our young guys and then be a nice veteran presence in the clubhouse and come play in New York, I don't see how Joey Votto would say no, and I don't see how we would say no. I don't think the money would be outrageous at this point.
No, definitely
Maybe
not.
$1 million.
He'd probably sign for the minimum.
1 to 4. Yeah, I mean, even if it's a couple mil, though, I guess we can't do that because we got the 110% tax, but I mean, the minimum wouldn't be that bad if we can get him for that, but that's up to Votto. I'm not sure what kind of money he's looking for, but this is a guy that's worth a roster spot for got to be so many teams, 20 teams.
100%. I mean, like, the joke that I've been seeing on Twitter is that you can't tell me that, like, him hitting homers in Coors Field for the Rockies wouldn't go hard.
Electric. And I don't think he's looking for crazy money, so make it happen,
and, like, if you're the Rockies, like, dude, that's a reason for fans to go to the game. Like, I get to see Joey Votto play for my team.
That would be amazing.
Of course.
I don't understand why people don't want it, because this really is a guy who's he's a phenomenal player, and
He's
a
also
fun one. He's funny.
He's a fun dude. Like he's a
Great interview.
He loves the game. He just has fun every time he goes out there, and he's just been one of the better players since we started watching baseball. To be honest with you,
it's weird too because he publicly the light shined on the Reds last year because of their young core and their young players, and Joey Votto clearly ushered them in and mentored them, and they were really getting along in the clubhouse. They were having fun on that team, and Joey Votto was a huge part of that. You can see how he could play that role, so why wouldn't you want him to do that for your team?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I'm pulling for him. I hope somebody sign. I hope the Mets sign him. I don't think they're going to because
I don't think so either.
But yeah, I hope somebody does.
Somebody sign Joey Votto. Thank you to everybody for listening wherever you do. That was episode 80 of the 9 Frames podcast. I have been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always. And finally, one of the big guys has signed. I mean, all eyes are looking at Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery. Mm-hmm. Let's pick it up, guys.
Yeah, and J.D. Martinez, a huge bat to get off of the market.
Matt Chapman, for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got to get signed. It's really got to be said that it's not great for baseball to have such big names on the market so late.
Definitely not. I mean, the Mets are about to play their 5th spring training game, and we're still. I mean, these guys aren't on teams. This guy won the Cy Young last year, Blake Snell. It's actually unbelievable.
Pretty wild. And thankfully, we got that Bellinger contract out of the way. But like you said, a couple of really big ones to go.
Yeah. Next up, guys. Come on. We're running out of time here.